communication. And I feel in a way you might have turned your back on this person. Okay, you might have turned your back. You might not have been responsive. You might have ghosted them, or you might have held back when it comes to communication from you to them in some capacity. And what I feel is you really wanted to build with this person. You really wanted to, go the whole 9 yards, okay? To work on communication. You were very, very thorough, very honest, very truthful with this person. And with the Three of Pentacles, this is usually about collaboration, working together, trying to um, compromise and trying, despite our differences, we always want to compromise. We want to build upon the situation. For some of you, there might be a partner in your environment where I feel like you sense that this person is a little bit rigid. Okay, so we have here the Emperor, rigidity. Someone who's very, very fixed in their ways. And as I'm saying fixed, I'm thinking automatically the fixed air sign, which is Aquarius. Somebody who's very rigid, someone who's very fixed in their ways. They want things on a schedule. They want things their way. Whenever life throws them a curveball, whenever things happen unexpectedly, they kind of, they're not very flexible enough to go with the flow and to be versatile and to be flexible. They tend to make mountains out of molehills, and they tend to have a really, really, really hard and stressful time when they have to adapt to new situations. So I feel like you're dealing with someone who is a little bit of a worrywart. They're also a little bit stubborn, inflexible, very fixed in their ways. Possibly from your perspective, you think that they are as well. A little bit tunnel vision, okay? So when you're dealing with this person, I feel like they create a very frenzy and a little bit of a chaotic atmosphere whenever you deal with them. So whenever you talk to them, I feel somebody who gestures a lot, who's very excited, who's very animated and very passionate when they talk. And I feel like, this is someone who's very, very smart too. Their mind constantly races and their mind churns out new ideas, new projects, new information. And when we're dealing as a water sign, and as you guys are very laid back. When you're dealing with someone who is like this, it can feel really intense, right? So like when you're around them, even if they're not saying anything, you can feel the intensity of their concentration. You can feel the intensity in which they are so absorbed or involved or just completely consumed by the things that they're really, really passionate about. And I feel in a way, for some of you, when you're in a relationship with this person, it can feel like you're put on the back burner. It can feel like they're focused on other things and not really giving you that, I guess, that nurturing and that emotional, um, I guess the emotional support. It just feels like the relationship might be more about them, more about their crises, more about what's happening with them. And so I feel like there's a little bit of a energy that might be not be reciprocal, okay? I do feel this person does really care about you, okay? I feel like they're trying to reach out, wanting communication, okay? And the way in which they approach you, I do sense that they might not be, the sword is up, but the hand is outstretched. So it's a little bit of a mixed signal. And it can also be a little bit like, talk to me. I feel like you might be turning your back. I feel like you're not really listening to what this person says. So if you feel like they've hurt you in the past, you might have turned a blind eye, or you might be ghosting them, or you might not be wanting to communicate with them. But I feel like they're trying to reach out, and they're getting more and more and more frustrated as the silent treatment continues. Okay, so this is a person, I feel like they do really care about you. And I feel like there's a problem here in the relationship with, it could be potentially, not that it's a problem, but I feel like it's an issue with communication styles. I feel like they like to know things at all times. And so whatever it is that you can tell them, if you're not able to give them an answer, you should at least give them a time frame in which they can expect an answer. If you're busy and you're not able to communicate with them, you should tell them, let me get back to you on this when I have a little bit more free time. Maybe in a few hours, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, or I don't even want to talk about this right now, so let me just get back to you when I'm ready to talk about it. So I feel like, communicating and giving somebody kind of like a time frame, it would really help this situation, because I feel like you might be feeling a little bit pestered by somebody whose energy is a little bit too intense and they're coming at you very, very, very fast. And it's really hard for you to like multitask and take care of everything that you're taking care of while responding to them. So I see you kind of shutting yourself off from this person. Their energy is really intense. I definitely see a stoppage in communication, and I also feel like you are withdrawing and drawing back your energy. I see you focusing more on finance, on work, on building your own stability. And I see many of you as well, possibly in a capacity where you are overseeing a lot of projects, overseeing a lot of people. You're in an environment where you're blending the energies of other people. So, for example, you might be, I see you leading something and you're asking a lot of people, and it's from this card, the Three of Pentacles, and you're asking people, what do you think? How would you do this differently? And delegating responsibilities as well. So you have already a lot of things that are taking up a lot of your time, calling for your attention, a lot of things that you have to deal with. And so the things that aren't emergencies, or the people that don't require immediate, communication from you, those people are being pushed on the back burner because you have a lot of things that you need to take care of, okay? I'm also seeing for some of you as well in the work environment, okay? Um, this is I'm seeing like judgment, or some type of a gathering of people here, especially in the work environment, where something is on display. For some of you, you might have to research into something, learn about a specific topic, and then bring it forth into the world, where you are disseminating information or educating or telling people about this thing that you have researched. So I see you taking on an audience, okay? Being in an environment where people have a lot of reverence and a lot of respect for you, okay? You're coming through as someone who is sharing knowledge, who is well respected, well regarded. And I also feel like your energy is one of a mediator in some type of a situation, like playing mediator, someone who's a force to be reckoned with, but your strength is very soft and very soothing, okay? Whereas in opposition to this person here, this is another person in your work environment who is a little bit more skeptical. They might be an air sign as well, so Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. And this is a really big sign, and I feel like it's kind of like a warning from the universe not to take things personally, okay? Um, this type of a person, they have a lot of questions. They're very inquisitive. They're very intelligent as well. And you might feel like they're asking you a lot of questions. So if you are working in a collaborative environment with them, in this capacity where you're sharing ideas, possibly sharing resources, they're going to ask you a lot of questions like, how did you arrive at this conclusion? What makes you believe it's A versus B? What makes you think this is the best course of action? And I feel like, they do that not in the spirit of hostility or trying to debunk you or trying to put you in your place. It might feel like that. It might feel a little bit antagonistic. But this is a person that needs to know. They like to pick other people's brains. They like to see how other people think. And they especially like to see how people arrive at their conclusion. So I feel like when you're dealing with someone like this, the energy can feel intense, but they're not antagonizing you, and there's nothing here that would indicate to me that they are doing anything to discredit you or trying to undermine you. Okay, I'm also seeing this person, somebody in your environment, someone who's really, really, really intelligent, and they're telling you about some type of a new income generating endeavor, like a new job, a position, a promotion, somebody who's giving you this idea. They're possibly passing along job postings, or they're telling you you should apply for this, you should do this. They're coming in with a lot of ideas about income generating projects, about new work that they feel would be very, very beneficial for you. And they're wondering why you're not moving forward with it. And they're wondering why you're not really actively pursuing it. Okay? So it seems like somebody's got has got you in mind for a big position, a job, a promotion, even a step up, or something that is a little bit more that they believe would be a lot more exciting, a lot more fun, a lot more up your alley. And they're wondering why you're hesitant about taking, this new endeavor. So going back to what I saw about the balloon, the woman and the balloon trying to, move forward, okay, trying to move up into the air. I feel like there's a lot of practical considerations that are racing through your mind, okay? I can't take this other job because my house is here, my car is here, my kids are here. If I have to move to that, or even, my friends are here, the really good uh, colleagues are over here. If I have to move to a different job, I have to start over. I might have to, commute. I might have to find a new place to live. So, whatever the situation is, I feel like you're talking yourself out of not moving away from where you are, because where you are right now, it seems to me like it is very, very stable. There's still a lot of room for growth. You get along with the people, and you're in some type of an environment where you might be teaching a lot of people, sharing information, and you're very, very well regarded. And so you're comfortable, like you're happy here, and you're wondering why this person is telling you to move on, to move ahead, to continue forward. And so what I'm sensing here is, once again, reassessing. If you're comfortable, by all means, tell the other person, I'm comfortable here. Maybe in a few years, maybe we'll have this conversation in a few months. Maybe I'll feel differently by the end of the year. But just keep in mind, opportunities, they come and go. They don't stick around waiting for us. Okay, so that's something you have to consider as well. But I definitely feel someone has you in mind for something that is spectacular, and they're wondering why you're dragging your feet. Okay, um, I do sense for many of you here there is there's definitely a love relationship, possibly with an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, that you might have that might have been very, very tumultuous, and there were a lot of hurt words, and I feel like you're cutting this person out. You're not you might be not so much giving them the silent treatment out of spite, but I feel like you're trying not to communicate with them so much because the intensity in that relationship, and you also feel like they might be a little bit self-serving. And then I also feel a really beautiful relationship here that we have with an earth sign, a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. And I feel like this person is going through a period of self-doubt in their own world, okay? Earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is the Queen of Pentacles, someone who's very caring, very much a homebody. This person, he or she, takes really good care of the people that they love. They're nurturing, they're warm, very reliable, very good to be with. And for whatever reason, they could be a little bit withdrawn, a little bit antisocial, a little bit like, oh, let's just stay home today. They don't really want to socialize so much. I feel like they do want to spend time with you, and they might not want to share you with other people. So I don't feel like, controlling behavior, but I feel like they want to keep things low key. They don't like big, vibrant environments. They don't like a lot of people. They don't like large crowds. They don't want to do the whole bar hopping thing. So if that's something that you want to do, I feel like this person might They might acquiesce. They might say, okay, let's just do it because they know how much it means to you, but they might feel a little bit out of their element. Okay, Nine of Swords, worries, anxieties, and things like that. There could be money issues that's troubling them. They could be dealing with, their performance in the work environment. They might have a little bit of a hard time dealing with the responsibilities at work, and in particular, if you're dealing with, Capricorns and Taurus, okay? They're going through some rough patches right now when it comes to their work, their reputation, the demands of them in the work environment, and their inability to feel like they're able to have forward movement and forward progression in their career track, in their work situation. So if they're feeling a little bit withdrawn, if you haven't heard from them, I feel like that's where the situation is. It has nothing to do with you. I feel like it's just more about what's going on personally in their life, okay? So aside from that, money looks fine. It looks very, very stable, and I feel for many of you, yeah, someone has really gotten a position, something in store for you that they feel would be a perfect fit for you. And I feel like it would be a good idea for you to try to, move forward with that, okay? If they're bringing you ideas, if they're bringing you things, I feel like they've really thought about you, and I feel like it's sort of like the universe delivering you messages through a physical person, through a messenger, so that you could take up the opportunity. I'm sensing as well for some of you. I feel like there might be an illness in the home environment, and I especially see like elderly, fatherly figures, like an uncle that you might have been really close with, your father, grandfather. So just keep that in mind. I feel like, spend some extra time with them. I'm also sensing as well, many of you are in a relationship where it's like I said, it's kind of lackluster, and you might not feel like your partner is appreciating you or is emotionally receptive to you. So what I mean by that is you might feel this emotional disconnect from your partner, like they're a little bit cold, a little bit aloof. And the reason I say that is we have here the High Priestess, which is you, and the Emperor. This is not the warmness type of a person, okay? They get things done. They are very, very reliable. They're there when you need them, but they're not overly expressive and loving and compassionate. Okay, so the things that they say might be a little bit on the harsher end if you're dealing in particular with an Aries. Aries, they say whatever that comes to mind. Sometimes their words can be very hurtful, or it can seem very, very blunt and uncensored. But I feel like, if they're upset, they're gonna show that they're upset, and then they blow over and they get over it. They don't hold things in, which runs in opposition to you guys, where you keep a lot of things in. And, things that are not discussed, things that are not talked about, these things tend to fester. So I just feel like your communication styles are very, very, very different. So if there is that emotional disconnect, especially with a partner, just know that your partner is a little bit more action oriented, whereas you're the one that needs a little bit more of a softer touch, the emotional connection, the emotional expression, but this person is not like that. So you have to be the one to kind of coach them and walk them through how to communicate emotionally. Okay, we all learn from, the biggest relationships in our lives. We learn from each other. They could benefit very much from your soft touch, from your diplomacy, from the ways in which you're able to tolerate a lot and not complain about every single little thing that pops up on your radar. So I feel like they might be, quite impatient, possibly combative, and possibly the way in which they communicate can seem a little bit abrasive. It's like somebody who gets frustrated easily, and then you're the one that takes it all in and puts up with a lot and don't complain. And so I feel like there's a definitely disconnect in this relationship, and especially in the ways in which you handle the everyday responsibilities in the relationship. And so communication, once again, it is very, very important for this month because of the High Priestess. She conceals information, she holds things in. She's more watery, and water absorbs everything. Okay, it absorbs heat, it absorbs sunlight, nothing escapes from its depth. But at the same time, I feel like you feel a lot of things very, very strongly, but out of this sense of kindness, you don't tell people, like, this is what I feel about you. Let me give you what I think about you, or let me give you my 2 cents. You don't do that because you understand that it could also be very, very hurtful. And you also understand that, things happen. People have, we're all humans. We make mistakes. We all have flaws. And if we're going to sit there and point out everybody's flaws, at the end of the day, it doesn't really accomplish anything, and it can create a lot of hurt feelings, and that's why you hold back. The other person doesn't get it. And so if there has been harsh words thrown about, talk it out. Have the discussions with that significant other. And I feel for many of you, it's a marriage, it's a relationship where there are children, it's a relationship possibly where you're really, really thinking about, like, am I still in love with this person? Is my love only now, like, is it only going towards the kids, or the kids the reason why we're together? Is it enough for me to stay together with this person because of the children? Or is there more to it? Can I fix the relationship? Is it worth investing more time to fix? So I feel like it is worth it, because I feel the whole time you and the other person might not be seeing eye to eye.